Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Torras AI Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Roger Casals. He's a dynamic entrepreneur and seasoned technology leader with over 20 years of experience spanning startups and major corporations. As the co-founder and CEO of Plazah, a groundbreaking marketplace focused on personalized commerce, Roger has proven a track record of founding and scaling successful ventures. He has achieved 5 successful exits, including Hasbro Bank, which was acquired by Symantec, and Power Data, acquired by Informatica. Roger's extensive expertise in technology, business strategy, and innovation has made him an incredible advisor and investor for several high-profile companies. He holds a certificate in business analytics from Harvard Business School and has been actively involved in fostering technological advancements in data management and security. Roger, welcome and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for being here and for calling me a special guest. So happy to be here.
You are a very special guest, and also for the audience, you guys must know that Roger and I are longtime friends. We never worked together, but we work in the same place, in Sunnyvale, California. It's been a while since then, but we were co-workers of sorts, right?
Oh yeah, for a while we were co-workers, indeed.
Absolutely. So you've been involved in multiple successful exits.
Yeah.
So the question is, what do you believe is the key to identifying when it's the right time to exit a business?
I've been asked that many times. And one of the partners that I had always said, we ask ourselves that question. And he always said, okay, if the company is going south, it's a good reason to sell the company. But if it goes well, it's always a good reason to sell because then you will get a lot of money. When he was explaining that, I was always against that. I always thought the other way around. If it goes south, you will get paid less. No reason for selling. And if it goes well, why selling? Keep growing, right? That was my motto there. But then I discovered that selling a company is the most exciting thing that you can do with your pants on. So it grew on me. So the fact is, I always wanted to create an impact. And when you see that your company doesn't have a clear path forward, so being alone as a standalone company, it won't achieve that goal of impact. It's about time to sell. Okay. You need a lot of fuel to keep growing. When you see that fuel won't come, which was the case, for example, for Password Bank, we had a lot of competitors. We needed a lot of money. Our competitors were raising money, and we were not capable of raising that kind of money. It was about time. If you cannot be at the crest of the wave, it's about time. And the obvious answer, if the offers are good, why not?
That's many of our audience are entrepreneurs, so that's a very good advice. Is not as simple, right? So depending on your capabilities, where the company is, you might be forced to sell, or you might find like this sweet spot to go and say, okay, that's the excellent time to sell.
Again, many companies, many startups are built to fulfill a small hole in the feature list of a big corporation, a big company. Okay, you fulfill something that nobody else is doing. And that is prone for big companies to say, okay, I want to fulfill that. I want to offer that as well to my customers. So they end up acquiring you. Okay. So it's very difficult for you to move beyond that small piece, a small hole that you are the leader, so to speak. You need a lot of fuel. You need a lot of capital to do that. Or you need a huge success that whole becomes so big that you are a big company by yourself. If that's not the case, maybe then it's the right time to sell, unless you want a lifestyle business. It's good for you. Good, you make money every year. Your investors are not pushing too much for growth. You are not in any obligation of selling. It's very personal. But if you want, as I did, wanted to create the next Google, and I miserably failed, that's why I referred to myself that I had 5 successful failures, because I never achieved the ultimate goal. We made money, but we never created the next Google. If that's not the case, you may well keep the company. Okay.
Yeah, I remember you were in San Francisco and you were delivering that speech about successful failures. That I found that fascinating. To me, there are successful successes, but it's very interesting when you say, "Well, I failed to create the next Google." Well, you got 5 times what many entrepreneurs have failed to get in just once.
Yeah, but in all honesty, every single sale of a company is a successful failure. And the reason for that is because when you are pitching to an investor, you rarely say, okay, we're growing this company to this size and then we will sell it. And usually you pitch, oh, this is the next Google, this is the next Uber. Everybody says that. So you, by definition, are a failure, regardless whether or not you sell the company. So
you bring incredible returns to investments, but still it's a failure in the sense that it's not, wow, that's amazing. Now, once a company has been acquired, right, and that's the case with Symantec and Plazah, right? So you have this experience of both being in the startup ecosystem as well as large corporate environments. So how do you see the role of innovation and driving growth for established companies versus startups?
It's funny. Many years ago, it's difficult. The question is tough and it's controversial. Many years ago, I was in a panel, and a big corporation officer, a chief innovation officer,
Mhm.
came to me to greet me and congratulate me for my pitch, and I said, and I regret that, but I said, oh, so your company does not innovate, right? He walked away not very pleased with my answer, and I was very rude and direct and blunt, and I asked for forgiveness. He knows who he is, and that just reflects what I felt at that time. Okay, even before I working for big corporations. By definition, startups do not need a chief innovation officer because they are innovation or they are cease to exist. They, by definition, are the representation of innovation. They try to innovate and disrupt certain product features, niches, etc. And in a big company, basically, you get several things that hinders innovation: bureaucracy, politics. I recall that in my second day in the company, one of the big senior VPs came to me and said, I'm going to change the names. You are Team John or Team Anna, okay? And I said, no, I'm Team Symantec. But there was politics right away, second day in the company.
Wow, like internal tribes.
Internal tribes, yeah, that hinders innovation because they are fighting each other, not the market, not the competition, okay? That happens. And another thing that hinders innovation is the installed base. There's the joke. God was able to create the world in 7 days because there was no install base. Okay.
That's a good one. I'm going to take that one.
So when you have a lot of install base, and Symantec in cybersecurity had the biggest install base there is, we had a lot to invest keeping up with our install base, our all legacy products. And that hinders innovation because most of your resources go to keep up. And innovating on old products, not so exciting products anymore, but they need to, being upgraded, hinders innovation. And there's another thing. When I was young, I thought that big corporations attracted mediocres. Okay, and I was wrong. It's not the case. The reality is, I basically joined a big corporation. I never thought of myself as a mediocre. Okay, not at all. But when you work at a big corporate, especially corporate America, you become comfortably numb. It's very convenient working in a big corporate because you can hide yourself, between the branches of the company. Nobody knows what you do. Nobody cares. And if you don't care, you can survive and retire there. Okay. I was not like that. And then there's two options. You fight it. So you basically knock your head against the wall many times, or you let it go. When you
with the flow, right?
Exactly. If you move with the flow, then you are becoming mediocre because you fight to bring innovation into the company. And that's what I believe that many companies need to change in the way they see and perceive innovation, and those nutcrackers that basically are knocking their head against the wall all the time. You need to hear them, okay? Because they are the ones bringing innovation. Those that think different. And talking about think different, Apple doesn't have a chief innovation officer. I know that many people think that Apple is not an innovative company. I disagree. It's very hard to bring disruptive innovation every year, okay? But you can do innovation in little steps, okay? And they've been doing so successfully for many years, so they don't need a chief innovation officer. Everybody should be an innovator, okay, in the company.
Absolutely. And I relate very much to that story because when I sold my business, it was acquired by a private equity. There was a new management team, and I became chief innovation officer.
I know.
So yeah, I agree. That's the time when innovation is hard. Is like, okay, now we need a guy who takes care of innovation, like it was as a business function. Is when innovation basically stops. That's that's funny. I totally relate to that. Now, let's talk about artificial intelligence, right? So AI is transforming the landscape of business decision making. How do you think companies should approach integrating AI into their core strategies to achieve meaningful results?
Well, first of all, AI is a wonderful tool, okay? For what? For organizing information and for summarizing information, content, basically. And it brings at your fingertips knowledge and refined content from many topics. But it's not good at numbers, and it's not good at truth, okay? It's not good at that. I've been recently involved with a startup where one of the founders was basically, he referred to ChatGPT as my girlfriend, basically because he was using ChatGPT for everything. Every single thing, strategy, tactics, work, summaries, everything.
Wow.
And that's dangerous, okay? Why? Because I think it's wrong. And because AI abused, okay, can become a tool to further down that mediocrity that we were referring to, okay? You may forget to analyze a text, how to think, how to create genuine ideas, how to have critical thinking on new things. And to illustrate that, I always use an example. You know that I have a Tesla, okay? I'm a worse driver today. I have a worse driver skills today than 2 years ago.
Because of your car, you are a worse driver?
Yeah. Okay. Because there are so much intelligence, so much automation, so much, even the simplest thing, the cruise. It's so easy to activate the cruise mode. So the car goes at the right speed, on the right lane, and then if there's some, slow down, a car in front of you slows down, the car slows down. You don't pay pay that much attention. Okay. And if you activate the self-driving thing, it's even worse. Okay. You are only worried about touching the wheel from time to time, so the alerts don't keep popping up. But that's all, and that's dangerous because then when you start driving an actual car, uh, you realize you're not as sharp as you used to be. Okay, so that's a stupid example, but I think it's a true example of how if you're not using it in the right way, it can jeopardize your ability as a human creative being.
Yeah, yeah. And there are many that name, right? The idea of Copilot is used by Microsoft, and there are a lot of startups now that kind of have the concept of Copilot. And the way I understand what you said is like when the Copilot becomes the autopilot, right? And then you don't know anymore. You don't need a Copilot. Just the autopilot takes over, and then you become a passenger, and that's kind of the risk, right?
We are this close, both self-driving cars and self-programming things, etc. Yeah, coding in a few years will be very rare. Maybe only those that actually program AI, but the rest, why bother if they do it in a more precise way? Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So
Now,
we will
yeah.
be worse coders. Yes.
And then who's gonna do the next AI if everybody forgets how
No,
to code, who's gonna create the next great AI?
well, initially there will be an elite kind of coders that will be engineers that will be coding that. And in the future, if we have to trust Terminator, they will be conscient and they will start coding by themselves without even asking. So yeah,
Oh my goodness.
that will come. So you basically we say, okay, I need this piece of code, do this, and it will magically appear because it will be self-coded. It will
Wow.
happen. So the no-code thing that today understand as, okay, there's a piece of code that allows you to do things without having to code. The code itself will be no code. The no code of no coding,
So it's the end of no code simply because all the code will be
No code.
generated. So who bothers if you code or
I'm
not,
certain that
ultimately?
that's the path that we are headed to. Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. Now, you have a strong background in data security and analytics. So, what are your emerging trends in data privacy and cyber security that tech leaders should be aware of?
Well, there's one. So since the 80s, there's been a huge progression on cybersecurity and threats of that kind. But the one that I'm worried the most with is deepfakes. So the authenticity of information is of utmost importance. So anything that jeopardizes the ability to discern whether an information or a video or a radio podcast or something is legit and true, we're lost. As a species, we're lost. And I'm deeply worried about that, not being able to detect. So if anything, so the same way that deep fakes emerge, and now you can recreate and get Obama saying, I will vote for Trump, and it looks legit. We need to invest in the ability to detect whether or not that has been faked. Okay, that's to me, that's very important. That's the biggest threat right now in the lack of information, of true information. Then there's technologically speaking, there's many different technologies or trends, right? The zero trust architecture, the edge computing security, cybersecurity mesh architecture, etc. But all of them are trying to solve something that it's a core, which is it just reflects that everything is interconnected, and now it's autonomous. So how you protect things that connect autonomously between themselves and you don't know which they are and you don't even know that they are there, right? That's very dangerous. And And that's why when I was at Symantec, me and my team, or my team and I, created something called Trust Authority. Okay,
Trust
it never saw the light because of those,
things that we were discussing before.
exactly. Never saw the light. That's why I left. But I think it had, even today, has a lot of merit. I think it's something that we should bring back. So let me explain. So it was a novel approach to secure by design.
Okay.
What it means. So that involved, and we were building partnerships with different companies, such as, well, we were trying Samsung, but we got the chip manufacturer NXP and others, okay? That basically, an ARM, for example, was involved. And we even launched and created a protocol for that, OTRP. It was a protocol that allowed that communication between different, in a secure way, between things. Okay. And the thing was a holistic approach to security, where we injected that security at manufacturing time. So it's not that I put some software on top of a machine. No, I secure the machine when it's being built.
Wow. At
So
physical level.
Yeah. So the beauty of that is that the software that you run, the hardware that you run of, the hardware that you interconnect with has been tested, vetted, and secured beforehand. Okay, that you start using it. I don't see anything fully deployed close to that. Okay, and we should. The beauty of this is that would save a lot of trouble on many other, because it's secure by design, so it cannot be broken somehow. The analogy that I put is, that we've been working for decades with something called certificate authority. All the certificates that we use for running everything, even
every HTTPS connection comes with a certificate. It must be issued by an authority. Yes.
Symantec was the leader on that. Probably still is, with a different name. Basically, we were a certificate authority. Basically, the totem of the truth and the validation of certificates. So we were the ones saying, okay, that certificate and all the siblings and childs of that certificate are legit or not. And allowed us to create a lot of advancements, okay? But that was only on the software side, and it was software-based only and had some flaws, and, it was not perfect. Very capable, but not perfect. Okay, this trust authority wanted to go one step further and touch and get that very same concept into the hardware level. That's why we involved ARM and NXP and other chip manufacturers, okay?
Wow. Impressive.
That's what we need to do, and I haven't seen that.
And you are the experts in security, right? With your experience with Password Bank. But what I heard is many of the big hacks have involved, or somehow one of the components is our old friend phishing, right? So basically faking email. So I guess when you say the deep fake is, okay, what happens when phishing is engineered by deep learning and generative AI, creating such convincing phishing emails that just, defending against that gets super hard.
That's very true. So phishing is one vector of risk that is in danger right now. It's even worse right nowadays because of the deep fakes. So you can receive a call that sounds and looks like your daughter or your wife or your father asking you for a quick transfer because they need something, right? It's not just an email. You can see your wife asking for money because she's, I don't know, in need. And you will swallow that one. That's why I said that deepfakes are the ones that I'm most worried about, because phishing is because involved people we are vulnerable. We are not perfect. We're not
Yeah.
machines.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And as
that
you were speaking, right, it crossed my mind this scene of the Terminator movie, right? At some point, this child is calling his mom and say, "Hey, mom, I'm okay." And his mom replies, "Okay, where are you?" And that's not his mom; it's the Terminator. Just replicating the voice of her mom super, super quick. So that's terrifying. How this kid cannot make the distinction. That's an AI talking, pretending to be his mom. That's terrifying.
we have this today.
We for that area of the Terminator, we have that already. We lucky enough, we don't have robots shooting us yet, but we're starting to have some of those components. Oh
Absolutely.
my goodness. So, okay, with all this rapid pace of technological change, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs looking to build resilient and future-proof businesses in today's market?
When when you live in the Bay Area, if you don't have your own law, you are nobody. So I had to come up with one, okay? And I came up with the universal law of the pendulum, okay? The Rogers
Oh,
law.
okay, the Rogers
Law of
law of pendulum. Well, that's gonna be
universal law. It's a
that's gonna be in
universal.
the Wikipedia very soon.
Yeah, soon. Uh, Universal though. So
Okay.
it's pay attention that this is very important. Uh, this theory basically says it's not a theory; it's now a law. That uh, things move in a pendulum. Everything moves in a pendulum. So basically, you may be on one extreme of the pendulum or the other, but when you are working and building a company, you basically see what is there. But if you answering your question, if you want to be a good entrepreneur, you don't want to be where the pendulum is right now, is where it will be.
Hmm.
So you have to see how things move because you have to plan ahead. You want to invest here, not right here. Okay. And I know that Mark Andreessen said software ate the world, and that's
Mhm.
totally true. But I
Huh.
sense that there's a shift. That pendulum, there's a shift, and the shift that I see right now is that we are shifting towards a more fundamental and physical innovations. Energy generation, energy storage, robotics, medicine, bioengineering, quantum computing, okay, advanced materials, neuroscience, everything that is more tangible, closer to the physics, to the atoms, okay? So if I had to, right now I'm doing, when I invest as a business angel, I started investing in bioengineering, in energy storage and things like that, more close to down to earth, down to the dirt, to the
Mhm.
atoms, because we've made a lot of progress on the software side. We have AI, but
Mhm.
now I think that the space that is available, all the fish is fried already for AI. If you did not invest 5 to 10 years ago in AI, today it's too late. You can create tools, utilities about using and leveraging AI, but you are not in the big league. So the space that I think it's left is there on those different areas
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
fields, right?
So if you look at the plane, the rocket, the car, all those things were invented in the 20th century, but that's the 21st century, and there are not much inventions. Everything is related to software, right?
Uh, well, I think that yeah, even artificial intelligence, they just got awarded the Nobel Prize. It's an all thing. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
that new. Then you
Nope. No, I remember I was in college, and that was in the 1980s, and I was studying neural
know,
networks as a way to make machines intelligent. I remember that, and at that time, I was told in the class that's kind of an experimental way. It's unclear is that gonna work or not. And well, it didn't work at the beginning. That's why we had all this AI winter. But look at that. It came back, and now these guys got the Nobel Prize of Physics, which is also, well, there's no Nobel Prize for computer science, I believe. So they took over the physics Nobel Prize.
Oh, it's
That's
crazy.
impressive.
It's crazy. It's impressive because software physics, yeah, it's crazy. But there's another thing that I want to mention because I usually use that when I speak with entrepreneurs, and that one is well, how to use, okay, where to invest, right? How to use my time, and there's another law. Okay, that's not mine. It's the law of the minimum effort. Okay, and it's also universal. Okay, universe is lazy by design, so we are. And anything that helps us to be more lazy, to be more efficient, it's a home run. So if you think in terms of energy saving, meaning money, meaning energy itself, or
Mhm.
saving lives, but anything that reduces the effort that someone has to put on something, it's a home run usually. And those are the two aspects that I would consider before deciding what's next. If I'm an entrepreneur, I have an urge to create a company. I would go into energy generation, storage, robotics, medicine, etc., bioengineering, and see how that new innovation, new invention is helping to reduce uh, energy consumption. Energy meaning effort. Okay.
Wow. Wow. That's impressive. So, dear entrepreneurs listening out there, you know the story. Anything that you invest, think about the pendulum law, Rogers law about
Universal.
where to
Yeah.
invest, universal, and also if you can save energy somehow to all of us poor humans, that's gonna be a good investment for sure. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, brain cycles, especially those are the most costly, I think. People tend to not use brain cycles as much as.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's go back to artificial intelligence. What do you think AI will bring in the future?
The future is now, so it's bringing already a revolution and disruption everywhere. Fundamentally short term, because there's short term, mid term, and long term. Short term, I think education.
Mhm.
Short term, mid term, I'm talking. Law, anything that is text and content related, it will be
Text-based.
disrupted. Medicine as well.
Mhm.
Most of the knowledge that doctors have is based on something that they read, that you can put in a paper. So it's knowledge that can be written down that will be disrupted. So medicine, healthcare, etc. Obviously, anything that has to do with IoT, autonomous vehicles, robots, etc., anything that needs intelligence to move around, transportation, etc., will be disrupted. Okay. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah. So when I was a kid, when I was depicting the year 2000, I depicted three things that never happened, right? Flying cars didn't happen.
Nope.
Robots
No.
didn't happen. And then talking houses. In reality, didn't happen yet.
No.
They are dumb, stupid. So those three things that we were imagining, I used to read Isaac Asimov and those
Yeah.
authors. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. So I think that we are getting closer, and those are the things that will be disrupted. Hopefully, I would love to see my house talking to me. Um, and there's another thing that is interesting. In the Industrial Revolution, blue collars were really affected. You need less blue collars because you had machines that did
Right.
more with less. Okay. Today, the disruption will come to white collars. Why? It's been so for a while already. Why? Because blue collars are still necessary. Robots are not here yet. They cannot change and do a plumbing work, period. They can't. Okay. Uh, but they can do your taxes. They can give you advice on several things. They can tell you whether or not you're sick and so many things. Look at the Apple Watch. They do wonders. Doctors 100 years ago, they would kill for having that kind of protection capabilities. So uh, white collars are the ones that are going to challenge the most. And that's something that we should think about because it will create more inequality. So there will be the biggest thing that AI will bring is ethical challenges. Who has access to? Who needs to pay for AI? AI is not free. Today seems free. It looks free, but it's for business. It's for profit. So who has access to? First, it was access to internet. Now it's access to AI. And who has not access to AI has a problem. And it's inequality, another form of inequality. So we need to tackle that. The sooner the better, because white collars are going to suffer a lot. We have already a pandemic on middle class. Middle class is being disrupted and is disappearing quite fast. And this is just accelerating that. So many jobs being disrupted on the white collar, so middle class. That's worth.
Yeah. Wow. All right. That makes a lot of sense. So, hey, for all the audience now listening, Roger, what would be the best way for them to try to contact you?
It's easy. Through LinkedIn, I think. I don't know what people usually recommend, but I use LinkedIn, and it's the best way to
Absolutely.
use.
So in my blog, you will see a link to Roger's LinkedIn profile, so you guys can always go and contact Roger and maybe learn more about Roger's law of pendulum, which
I want to say something before we finish. My advice is it's worth as much as it costs, so nothing. So don't follow any of my. The only advice that you have to follow is don't follow my advice. Okay.
I love it. Roger, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, pleasure as usual. Thank you very much.
And for the audience here, stay tuned. We're going to have a very interesting guest on our next episode of Torras AI Podcast. Have a wonderful day.